Hello and welcome to Oxboom, the technical magazine with Wolfgang Rudolph. Welcome after I keep myself a little calm because I can't wobble. We'll start turning again. I've got here a red hair from a young girl. She gave it to me this morning, and at the bottom is a pencil hanging onto it. And why? What sense is in this? It is to show physical scale from our environment, to detect them and to react on them. Just watch when I leave it still and just blow a little. You can see how it starts to turn. Why?
Den Faden hier oben an, da könnt ihr sehen, fängt an, sich richtig zu drehen. Warum?
It's pretty simple. I've used the air humidity, so to say my humidity, from my breath, and I've changed the consistency of the thread. Naturally, I haven't attacked a young girl and pinched her hair. I've used a thread of a certain material, and it reacts to air humidity. And lots of older ones of us will maybe remember the weather stations we used to have. There was a bar with a man and a woman. The man had an umbrella, he had to go out when it rained. There was also a hair from a woman on it. It is the best material of such things. A blonde one is the total best. And it was fixed to the middle and to the chimney and turned. Depend on the air humidity. And you could guess what the weather was going to be like. When the sun shined and the humidity was evaporated, the air would then be drier. And the woman came out. And when it was wet again, evenings or nights, or a bad weather area came over, then the man came out. That was years ago. Now just imagine you go into your local store and say, here's your air humidity or cooling change being broken, where you are storing, and then your shop manager says, look here at the weather station. That is not possible naturally. Nowadays we have the technique, very good technique, inexpensive technique, and also very accurate technique. And then because these devices work all day, you can establish if the cooling chain has been interrupted during the transport, how the air humidity was or is when storing. Because that has the influence on different materials, but mostly with food, and we don't want any rotten food. And that is why all who are responsible for the distribution and transport of our food are interested in watching over it. If there are problems anywhere, not only there, also machines need a certain climate, paper for example, and similar things, so you need all over the place surveillance. Certain parameters, temperature and air humidity hang together. They are showed together, and that must be recorded to be able to refer to later. So, and now I would like to show you 3 of these devices. The first device which I would like to show you is from PCE, the HT71. It's very nice, a little device which you can see here. There's a battery in it, which you can naturally change. It holds for up to 1 year, depending how often you've saved things. It is an EEPROM in it, a memory, so even when the battery is empty or when you change it, the memory is saved. I can save up to 16,000 data recordings. That means air humidity, relative air humidity from 0 to 100%, and the temperature in the area from minus 40 degrees Celsius to 70 degrees Celsius. And additionally, there's a timestamp. There's a real time clock built in with an accuracy of plus minus 3 seconds every month. And that you would be assigned to a data recording. And when normally it is operated from the computer, you can see the control lamps. They are normally off, well they would need power normally, so they don't need to blink around. Here would be from the operated, but it is more comfortable to use it over the computer. And now when I stick it into here, the software is delivered with it. It is on a CD. I have already installed it. The computer has recognized the stick, and the software has already started. I transfer the data now and read it. You can see it here. have different parameters. I have the red line, for example, that is the temperature, and then I have the relative air humidity, that is the yellow line. You can see that it is continually rising. Then I can also see the dew point. It is naturally calculated, you can't measure it, the software does that. And it is here at the bottom in green. And we have down here, for example, we have the time and the date. That's what I said, so I have for every measurement the proper date and time. The measuring interval I can set from 2 seconds in different steps and up to 24 hours, once a day, or every 2 seconds, and lots of possibilities between. That means it is totally appropriate for all things you need. Like I said, because the built-in battery holds up for 1 year, you can use it for all-day usage. Here, that is also with it. You can either screw it or glue it somewhere to a wall, and you have a seamlessly surveillance of all your products. No matter whether it is food or other things that need certain climates, to see on time that what you are storing, that the climate is correct, you can see on time and avoid damage. The little measuring instrument PCE 310, a digital Hygrometer. With this I can measure air humidity and temperature. It doesn't save the measurements, I can only see the actual readings. But is that what we often need? You have to turn the sensor at the top and then it is open or shut. And now the air can pass through and would be measured. It is shown here in the display where we have 23 point something. Now watch and see if it really works. So now we are at 99.9% air humidity. So you can see how high the air humidity is when I breathe out. But you as well. So it's nothing special. So now for what do we need it? At your home you will probably have corners where you would like to know how high the air humidity there is. Even if it is in the cellar where the Christmas decorations are stored in cartons, you have to watch it there as well. If you put it too near to the wall, then you can get a climate that leads to mold. More worse is the pantry where food is. Even in the bedroom it can happen, because at night a lot is evaporated from our body fluids, and that you can measure. You see it's gone down again, so I never cheated. So once we can measure our climate in an area of humidity from 0 to 100 relative air humidity, the temperature from minus 40 to plus 50 degrees Celsius, you can find a dew point and a possibility for differences of temperatures that I measure. And I have here an external sensor which is delivered with the device, that is this here, and I get the temperature shown. I can set it, for example, here on the left side, the one that is the built-in temperature, on the right side the T2, and when I touch this sensor you can see that the temperature goes very quickly up, and nears my body temperature. With this external sensor you can measure up to 70 degrees Celsius, a device with many usages. At home you should look now and then if you live healthy, but also in works and businesses. There where a climate is needed in certain areas. By the way, it also has a minimum and maximum memory, so that I can let it work longer, and I can see how the temperature and air humidity has changed. So what I have here now in my hand is a climate and data logger, the PCE HT 110. And that says a lot. But I want to tell you more about it. It has a big, good, readable display. If I hold it properly into the camera, you can see it. So like this, for example. And I can set the time and date. And that is saved too. And you can set it that every 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, or up to 600 seconds interval, the data is saved. Or, and I think that is interesting, it can also be set that only when the temperature or air humidity changes, that the next recording starts. Because when you have a constant climate, it doesn't make any sense month after month always to record the same data. So that is solved good. Massive, nice, stable, everything good, air humidity from 10 to 90%, relative air humidity. The measuring area of the temperature is from 0 to 50 degrees Celsius, and it saves the data. I will show you here on the side onto a memory card. This SD card is delivered with 2 gigabytes, but you can put up to 16 gigabytes inside it. And then you have naturally a long recording memory. And you can also put it onto a 9-volt power supply, even though it is powered from a battery. Naturally, you have to acquire yourself. Then you have naturally endless usage. The device itself is verifiable, and it comes verified. You should verify it later too after a while by a firm that can do it. So then you have a very massive, stable, big, good, readable control device, which should be in every shop, and all people who have a storage what has to do with food or perishable items or sensitive goods, which are stored in a certain climate. And I think this gives the security that our food in a freezer with an interruption, so like before, the quality stays the same for us. You should, as a supplier of such goods, anyway, have such measuring instruments.
Man sollte als professioneller Anbieter von solchen Waren auf jeden Fall ein solches Messgerät haben.
I think it's massive what the technique achieves nowadays. But like for 50 years ago, there was nothing thought of that people walk around with temperature instruments and write down everything. And now we put a little instrument there and can be sure that nothing happens in between. And when we look for the source of error and know that the products which we haven't stored properly, we have to prove again to see if they are okay. Technique is important in our lives and makes fun. Bye.